Hello and welcome to Decoding Helix episode number 3. I'm your host Sabin, and I just wanted to thank you very much for joining us on this episode where we're going to be discussing how exactly is it that you're going to be able to attract your first few clients after you've just started your business. Let's get right into it. Say you've done your homework and you've started your business and you're ready to go, your contracts are all in place, you got your business name, you got your logo all sorted out. What next? How is it that you're going to attract some clients? How do you get your first few clients? That's $1 million question. And the reason for that is because it's very difficult to understand how to approach people or how to do that kind of thing where you've never had to do that before. So it is a difficult topic to sort of approach, especially if you're like me and have a very difficult time trying to approach people and talk to them, and how you're going to come across as funny or just awkward, or you're not really certain how you're going to have that conversation. Well, hopefully in today's episode, we're going to be able to help you out a little bit and give you some tips as to how you can actually start rolling in those first few clients. Tip number 1 is actually one that really worked for me. I tried a few others before, and it didn't really sort of strike a chord. Now, I'm not sure why. Maybe it was my approach. Maybe I didn't know what I was doing, which is quite possibly the case. I mean, I was very green when I started. And so the very first tip that I really want to share with you is networking meetings. Now, if you don't know what those are, by all means, get to know what that is. Look it up. I'm sure you're going to be able to find out what those actually are. And basically what happens is it's a bunch of business owners, typically speaking, that get together and discuss their own businesses and exchange ideas and work on, approaching clients and how to speak in public and all that kind of stuff, which is very helpful actually. But those are the kind of meetings that I went to where I actually got my first few clients, and I was able to generate some interest and speak a little bit about what I do and the kind of business that I run and how it could possibly help anybody else. So tip number 1, networking. It's absolutely fantastic in my experience. It does teach you quite a lot, especially when you're brand new, and there are people that are willing to help you at those kinds of events and really kind of point you in the right direction sometimes, which is really, really cool. I mean, I didn't even know that something like that was possible. The one thing that you will need to work on with that is your elevator pitch. One of the first meetings that I was invited to, I had to give an elevator pitch, and I had no idea what that was. So that was kind of embarrassing. But it happened, and I got through it, even though I stuttered a bunch of times. There I go again. And kind of really messed up the whole experience. I mean, I was nervous, I was sweaty, my throat was all dry and everything, so nothing was happening right for me when I was giving that speech. So there you go. There's something to work on. Work on your elevator pitch. Who you are, where you're from, what you do, your ideal client, and hopefully if you can deliver something about yourself that's gonna put a little bit of a twist on it, a more personal twist, I'd recommend doing that, because it kind of takes everybody, it makes everybody sort of think, well, hang on, this isn't just about this guy pitching his business or anything like that. He actually kind of has a bit of a backstory, which is always interesting, and you might get questions about it, which you're gonna, it's going to help you start a conversation and get to know the other person as well. So, or people, which is even better. So, that is my first tip. My second tip is run some ads, run some Facebook ads. They're probably one of the cheapest type of ads you're going to be able to run, and it's going to pretty much hopefully help you out in the long run as far as bringing in clients. Now, don't do what I did, and again, learn from my mistakes if you can. So this is why I'm giving you this information. Don't do what I did. What I did was I was on a very tight budget, and I mean very tight. So, I ran like $3 ads every day for about like maybe 5 days, and I got very few results from them. If any, I got a few people looking at the ad, but nobody was really clicking through, and I didn't have anybody contacting me because of those ads. So, I later learned that Facebook ads, what you really want to do, and here's a massive tip if you really want to know, run about 3 to 4 to 5 ads, depending on what your budget is, and make sure you do have a bit of a marketing budget when you start out. It's going to help you out immensely. But run the same type of campaign, so the same type of ad set, and target it towards different audiences and have different wording in each and every one of them. So whatever you think, sort of suits the kind of customer that you're looking for, the age bracket, and so on and so forth. Put those kinds of details in. Make sure that they are different for every ad set, and then pretty much give it like about 15 plus days, and you're going to be able to see which of those ads performs the best and which one you're actually getting clients from. Now, I say 10 to 15 days and, plus actually, because that is when the Facebook algorithm is going to pick up what exactly it is that you're looking for. And it's going to start targeting those kinds of people a little bit better for you. So the more you let the ad run, the better it's going to actually do for you. But that is also dependent on the kind of information that you put into those fields when you're creating the ad. So, there is a little bit of a trick to it. So, do your research, find out all about it if you want, because it's definitely going to help you out in the long run. One of the other things that is absolutely going to help, but it is a lot more expensive than Facebook ads, is Google AdWords. Google AdWords are fantastic. I mean, they bring in clients like nobody's business because everybody uses Google. Everybody's on Google all the time. You've even got people that, they're sick and they're asking Dr. Google about, what should I do? What should I do now? Oh my goodness, I'm suffering from some horrible disease, is what Google comes back with. But anyway, just remember that it is very expensive, but it will bring clients through, again, if you fill in those spaces correctly within, the creation page of Google AdWords, and really try and narrow down those kinds of customers that you're actually trying to focus and target. So, AdWords is absolutely brilliant, but again, a lot more expensive than what Facebook can be for you. And even Instagram. Instagram is actually another cheap place that you can advertise your business and tell people about what you do. And, you can go ahead and actually even create an Instagram page if you have a very visual sort of business. So, say you run like a bakery or a cake shop or something like that, plenty of opportunities there to take pictures of your creations and put them up on Instagram. Put a bit of an explanation as to what, that picture is all about. Add quite a few hashtags onto it and let it go out into the wild blue yonder. And hopefully, people are going to like what you have to offer. And when that happens, you're going to attract some people with that as well. But as far as ads are concerned, that is a good place to advertise for your clients as well, or your potential clients, I should say. So those are a few ways that you can actually attract clients. But again, I don't think, actually, there's actually a few other ways if you want to try them. If you're feeling very confident about it and your copywriting skills are up to task, you might want to try your hand at cold emailing. Cold emailing, if done right, does actually work. I've tried it. It is, for me, it was a bit hit and miss, I have to say. So maybe it's just because I don't know how to do it properly and I haven't really studied up on how it all is supposed to work. But it does work if it is done properly. I've known other business owners that, they swear by it. And so, they're getting tons of results, and that's one of the models that they use to get their brand out there. You got to make sure that you're using a very good email service if you're going to do that. So, using a domain like outlook.com or gmail.com at the end of it isn't going to look very professional. So that's something you need to keep in mind. You want to have an email address that actually, points to your domain. So it just looks a lot more professional. It looks a lot more thought out, and it looks like you know what you're doing and you're in this business for good. You're not in it, as an amateur trying to get money from people. Because that's what it could come across as. You might not be that person, but the people that receive your emails, you have to remember they're bombarded day in and day out by people that want to offer them something and want their money basically. So it is something that you need to keep in mind and watch out for. But if you can actually create those emails and word them correctly and get that email in front of the right person inside the company you're targeting, then you might have some success with them. With that, you also have to remember that you got to follow up on it. So don't just send an email and think that, my goodness, I've written the best email ever and this is going to do so well for me, and then you just sit back and relax. You can't just do something like an email blast to 300 companies and expect that out of 300 companies you're going to have 150 right back to you, or even 100 companies or 50 companies right back to you and going, you know what, that email really struck a chord and I want to work with you. Here, take my money. It just doesn't work that way. So you do need to have a game plan. You have to follow up. You want to make some phone calls, a couple of days after you send that email and see if they got it, see what they think about it. And you know what, when you put a voice to the email that you sent as well, for them to see that there's a real person behind that, you're going to find that there is a lot more success that you're going to have with that. Another thing that I actually did try as well was door knocking. So I went to kind of like an industrial area close to where I live, and I just went door knocking from one business to the other. And I tried to offer, the services that I had at the time. And for me personally, it didn't quite work. Maybe it was my approach because, again, when I started, I wasn't very good at speaking with people and speaking to people. It just felt very awkward because I knew I was trying to sell them something, and I'm not a natural at doing that kind of thing. So it's something that I really have to work at. And if that's you as well, then my recommendation is practice. Practice before you go out to anybody and start meeting people, and have an idea in mind of what you want to say. So have a little bit of an outline drawn out before you go out there and start making a fool of yourself. Because all that happened with me is I went out there, I met a bunch of people, I told them what I did and how I could help their business, but all throughout that, I actually also, felt like an absolute fool. And I fumbled my words. I didn't say the right things at the right time. I didn't know quite a few, basic things that would have probably got me better results. So one of the things that I tried to do is, very early on, just, hi, I'm Sabin. I'm from Helix Media Management. Here's what I can offer your company. Who can I talk to about this? And, it didn't sound quite so choppy. I tried to make it as, a little bit smoother than that, but that's basically how it would have sounded to anyone listening to it. And it was brutal, man. I didn't get any hits out of that. Nobody really cared to listen to what I had to say, and I don't blame them. But you have to remember that, these are people that are busy. They have very little time because most of their time is spent trying to figure out how to make their businesses better, how to run things smoother, how to maybe automate some of their services or some of the things that they're doing around their offices or around their particular business. So, you know, you absolutely need to deliver value as soon as you get your foot in the door. If you're going to do the door knocking thing like I did, it's not something that I really recommend. I think there's better ways of reaching clients, but at the beginning I was trying pretty much everything to try and get my hands on the first few clients, and it doesn't feel good when you get rejected. But the one thing that I would love to tell you is, don't give up. Those first few clients are going to be some of the biggest wins you will ever feel while having your own business, because they're going to be hard earned. They're going to be, like your time, your blood, your sweat, your elbow grease, everything is going to go into getting those first few clients, right? Now you want to dazzle people, but what you don't want to do is be, disingenuous. So you don't want to be that person that goes up to people and promises them the world and then can't deliver on half the stuff that they say, or maybe even all of the stuff that they say. So if you know in your heart that the words that might come out of your mouth next are not 100% true, don't say them. That is a massive piece of advice. Don't lie to people, because they will see right through it. Even if they agree to take your service on for whatever period of time, if they find out, and they will find out, that you cannot deliver on something you spoke to them about and something that is in your contract with them, then believe me, they're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. And the only thing you're going to do then is scar your reputation. And you have to remember that the business community, we all talk with each other. So don't make the mistakes that I did. Now I didn't lie to anybody, so I didn't go down that road, which is great. It's one of those things that I've always been very careful of. But it is something that I've noticed a few companies do, and I absolutely don't agree with that sort of behavior. So, if you don't want that kind of thing happening to you, and if you hate that kind of thing happening to you, then please don't do that to anybody else. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, but yeah, look, if you do have a service or a business that is more online oriented, then it would make sense for you to advertise online. If you have a business that is more personal, that where you can interact with other people, and you're gonna know exactly what kind of industry you're trying to get yourself into, then work on those details, like work on your conversation skills, work on understanding when to listen and when to speak. And one thing that I will say that I found was I prefer to do a lot more listening than I would speaking. I'd much rather have the client talking about themselves and letting me know about what their company is all about, and also what they're like as a person, what they do when they're not working, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I want to hear what they have to say. I don't necessarily want to talk about myself too much, because then it's sort of, it could start sounding like a sales pitch, and I don't necessarily want to sound like that. I want to help, all the clients that I approach, but I don't necessarily want to sound like I'm really desperately trying to sell them this service or this product. So those are some of the tips that I had for you today. I hope that they've been helpful. If they have, then let me know down in the comments. If if you want to hear more, also let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out immensely. And also it, will help us to ultimately make more episodes where we can give quality information to you guys about how you can start your business or what you need to do after you start your business. So, if you already have subscribed, thank you so much for following us. We really do appreciate every single one of you. So, look, hopefully we're going to be able to keep delivering content for you guys for a long time to come. But as far as what we need from you guys, it's just a little bit of love, hit that subscribe button. Let us know that you appreciate what we have to offer. And if you do, we're going to keep pumping out this kind of content where you guys can benefit, and so can we. So until next time, I just wanted to thank you very much for joining us on episode 3 of our podcast, and we will catch you guys next time.